guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to do something a little different, and I want to talk to you guys about money. And money is something that's obviously been on my mind, because if you follow along in my videos, then you know that I'm pregnant. Right now, as I'm filming this video, I'm 36 weeks pregnant. So I'm towards the finish line. Things are going to be very crazy very soon. But when Joe and I found out that we were pregnant now, like 30-ish weeks ago, that was very much a reality check for us. And we kind of had to sit down and say, okay, are we doing all right with our finances? Money had never really been something that we tracked. We just knew that we had enough money to pay the bills. It's not like, you know, we were living paycheck to paycheck per se, but we knew that we probably could do better. Now with this new baby on the way, now that we're gonna have some new work arrangements, I'm gonna be working less, I'm gonna be bringing home less money. It's one of those things that we've really been trying to just get in the best place that we can be. And so today I just kind of want to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that we've been doing, and just like some of the overall like tips and things that I've been following that I think might be helpful to you guys, because I have a lot of friends and family members that I see who are struggling with their finances. I know millennials today, especially with the amount of student loans that we have, it's like this topic that's talked about a lot, but it's kind of like, all right, now what do we do about it? And so I think that just by getting on some kind of plan is very important. And so that's what I just want to talk to you guys about today. So like I said, when we found out that we were pregnant, we decided to sit down and really start taking this whole money thing seriously. I've always been like a money nerd. Like, I don't spend tons of money. I'm like the saver in the house. You know, sometimes I have to tell Joe like, okay, no, we can't buy that. Even if we do have the money, just because like it stresses me out. I don't know, I think I have some kind of anxiety problem when I start spending too much money. I prefer to see it grow in the bank. So it's not like I've been this spender my whole life, but I still knew that we could probably be doing better. So around the time that I found out I was pregnant, there's this vlogger that I follow. Her name is Haley Page, and I'll link her channel down below. She started talking about this guy, Dave Ramsey, and like their baby step plan that they had been following. And I was kind of like, what the hell is a baby step? I thought she was talking about her kid, but she was talking about this financial plan that she was on. And so I started to look into it myself. And my friend Katie lent me his book. So this is Dave Ramsey, for those of you who haven't heard of him. He's like this financial guru. This is one of his many books. He's got a whole bunch of books on like financial management and planning. And in this book in particular, he pretty much breaks down his plan, or like what he believes is the right order in which you should tackle your finances so that you can be in the best situation possible. And so today, that's just kind of what I wanted to share with you, his plan, the fact that we've been doing his plan, and it just seems to make a lot of sense. Now, Dave Ramsey, he has a podcast, which I listen to almost every single day when I'm driving to work. He also has a YouTube channel, which I'll link for you guys to check out if you want to do that. He pretty much has like a daily radio talk show where he takes questions from callers and he kind of gives them some financial advice. And I found that listening to that has been so helpful, but all of the advice that he gives is based on the principles of this book. And it's one of those things that you kind of think a lot of these things are common sense, but at the same time, you realize how many people don't have common sense. So if you are in a place where you're kind of struggling with your finances, or you know, you just graduated college and now you have all this debt and you don't know what to do, this is definitely a book that I highly recommend you check out. So Joe isn't like a huge reader, but he does listen to audiobooks. So a few months ago, he had a work trip that he had to go on, and he had to drive like I don't know how many hours. So he downloaded the audiobook version and he listened to it, and he came back from that trip and he was like, okay, we have to do this Dave Ramsey thing. We have to follow the baby steps. And I was like, oh my God, that's like the most romantic thing you've ever said to me, because like I said, I'm a money nerd. I always like to, you know, feel like I'm in a good place with my money. And so hearing Joe tell me pretty much that he wanted to get on some kind of a plan, that just like, I don't know, that was just like so nice to hear. So Dave Ramsey's biggest thing is getting out of debt. So that's like the main principle that he teaches. He does not believe in having credit card debt. He pretty much believes that like you should only buy things that you can afford. Like, what a wonderful concept. You know, there's so many people who just like buy things, have 2 and 3 new cars, and the amount of debt that you end up having at the end of the day, he doesn't believe that it's worth it. And so everything that he teaches is about becoming debt free. And it's like this weird thing, because like it's almost like debt in this country, I don't know, or at least debt in our generation, it kind of seems like this thing that like we just have to have, because otherwise how the hell do we live? But that shouldn't be the case, regardless of how much debt you already have. So there's people who get into his programs or who start reading his books who have like $150,000 worth of debt, and they follow his plan, they stick to his principles, and after, yes, a few years, many years, they eventually do get out of debt. But that's the end goal. He believes that you should do everything in your power to get out of debt so that your income then begins to work for you. So he wants everyone to get to a place where you don't have a bunch of bills to pay, to the point where you even pay off your mortgage eventually, so that every bit of money that you get from your paycheck or from your retirement, it comes to you and then you make it work for you. So to get you started in the right direction, he thinks that you should follow his baby steps. And his baby steps, I think there's 7 of them. Pretty sure there's 7 of them. Let me make sure I'm not talking crap. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it's 7 baby steps. And what I want to do is just quickly go through them all. So step 1 is to save $1,000. So before you start tackling any of your debt, before you get on any kind of plan, he feels like you need to save $1,000. So find a way to, you know, scale back if you need to. You know, if you have credit card debt and if you have things that you're paying off, try to just pay the minimum for now until you have saved $1,000. That's just like a mini emergency fund. God forbid something happens that you need some extra cash. He feels like your baseline should be $1,000. So that's baby step 1. Baby step 2, once you've done that, once you've built that $1,000 emergency fund, the next thing that you have to do is start tackling your debt. So for most people, baby step 2 is the hardest because, as you know, a lot of us have a shit ton of debt. Debt includes student loans, it includes credit cards, it includes any kind of car payment or boat payment, any kind of payment of that nature that's not your house. So paying off your house is something that we talk about later, but just baby step 2 is all about getting rid of that debt. And so like he'll tell you like, okay, you need to get on a budget, and every dime that you get in your paycheck needs to go towards, obviously you need to eat, obviously you need to make sure that you have a roof over your head, but everything else needs to go towards paying off all of your debt. If you want to be really aggressive about paying off your debt, believe me, you're going to find a way to do that. The problem is when there are people who have tons and tons of debt and their priorities are just in different places, and instead of paying off their debt, they're shopping or they're traveling or they're doing a million things instead of paying off your debt. As far as like figuring out what debt you should pay off first, he believes in the method of like the snowball method. So he thinks like, okay, if you have a credit card that has $500 and then you have like a car that has $10,000 left on it and you have student loans that are 50 grand, he believes that you should pay off the smallest debt first. So pay off that credit card, and then once you've paid off that credit card, use all of the money that you had been putting towards that credit card towards the next thing that you're paying off. Obviously, when you have multiple types of debt and you owe like monthly payments on a lot of them, you have to obviously make sure that you're paying your monthly payments. But then after you've cleared out some of those debts, that should clear out some more money for you to put towards the other debts that you have. And so he believes in the debt snowball method. You can look into it more if you read his book, but that's just like the general way that he suggests that you kind of tackle that debt. Right now, that's where Joe and I are at. We're still in baby step 2. So we're still not very far in the baby steps, but as far as the debt that we have, really the only thing that we have left to pay is our car. So I'm really excited about that. My car in particular, I had bought a brand new Jetta a couple years ago, and that was probably one of the biggest financial mistakes that I've made. Dave Ramsey also doesn't believe in buying new cars. He believes that you should save up and pay cash for a used car. But anyway, I bought a new car. I do love my car, but I think I have like maybe 10 grand left to pay on it. And so that's what Joe and I have been trying to tackle, but obviously it's a little bit difficult when you have a new baby on the way, and all of like our extra money that we've had lately has been going towards baby stuff and like getting her nursery ready. So eventually when she gets here, we're gonna hopefully get back on track, since we won't have like so many of like these giant costs, like upfront costs of like the stroller and the car seat and all those things. So that's gonna be our main focus, to pay off the car, and then we'll be done with baby step 2. Now, baby step 3 is about creating a bigger emergency fund. So you've already saved up $1,000 as your baseline. You've already paid off all of your debt. So now all of that money that you were using for those monthly payments of that debt, he believes that you should use that money to create a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. So before you move on to the other steps, you need to create an emergency fund to help you cover costs, like in case, God forbid, somebody loses their job or there's like a bad situation. Having that 3 to 6 months of your expenses in a savings account somewhere is something that'll be really helpful. So once Joe and I move on to this baby step, we'll probably just create like a 3-month emergency fund, because his job is, you know, knock on wood, like pretty stable. So we don't feel like we need to have tons of cash just sitting there. But it kind of depends, you know, if your job isn't that secure or you just want to be really conservative, then you can save up a little bit more and have more of like a 6-month emergency fund. After that, baby step 4 is about contributing to your retirement. So baby step 4 is all about setting up some kind of an IRA or 401k and contributing 15% of your income towards retirement. You know, I could literally film a whole video talking about my feelings on retirement and just the fact that no one is saving enough money for retirement. But again, the sooner that you start, the better off you'll be. I know that from experience. I started contributing to a 401k when I was like 18 years old. And when I see the amount of money that's in there, I'm like, oh shit, that's really nice, because I didn't miss that money. I just put it away. Every paycheck that I would get, it would like automatically go in there. And now I have a nice little nest egg, and I'm 27 years old, and that's the beauty of compound interest. So once you've gotten to the point where you can be contributing 15% of your income towards retirement, then you can move on to baby step 5. And baby step 5 is about creating a college plan for your kids. So obviously this is something that I think about, given that Riley's going to be here in just a few weeks. We won't be saving for her college until we get to baby step 5, but eventually we'll get there. I'm confident of that. So now once college has been funded, then you move into baby step 6, which is almost the final one. And baby step 6 is about paying off your mortgage. So Joe and I have a mortgage. We've been in our house for like 2 years. And when I go online and I look at how much money we owe, I'm like, we're never gonna pay that off. Like, you know, we pay our mortgage every month, obviously. But it's crazy to see how much of that money goes straight to interest instead of principal. And so I'm like, shit, we've been here for 2 years and we've paid off like nothing. Like, we still owe so much money. But Dave Ramsey thinks that eventually you can get to a point where you can pay off your mortgage. Obviously, I know it's going to take a very long time to do this. And that's the thing about these baby steps. It's a very long-term strategy. It's not something that's going to happen in a year. It's not something that's going to happen in maybe 2 or 3 years. It's something that's going to take a lot of patience and persistence. And obviously, it's going to vary depending on everyone's situation. As far as paying off your home mortgage, you know, there are some places in this country where you can get a house or an apartment for very cheap. And then there's other places like Miami, where I live, where it is very expensive. So I know that for us to pay off our house, it's going to take a little bit longer than if we were living somewhere else or had a smaller place. But again, it's just about committing to eventually paying off your home. And that would be awesome, because if I had an extra mortgage payment every month, like, there's a lot of stuff that I could do with that money. And so hopefully we will get to a place where everything is paid off and every bit of money that we get in our paychecks can just go to us and to doing fun stuff. But imagine, like, if you didn't have any debt, if you didn't have any credit card debt or any car payments or anything like that, then you could, in theory, have extra money to put towards your mortgage. So instead of paying, you know, like if your mortgage was $1,000 and you'd been paying $500 every month towards your credit cards, then once you pay off those credit cards, you have an extra $500 that you can put towards paying off your mortgage. And so you could chip away at your mortgage like that, and just, instead of paying it off in 30 years, pay it off in 20 or even 25, or maybe much sooner than that. It just depends on how much extra cash you have coming in. All right, so once you've paid off your home in baby step 6, then you move on to the final stage, which is baby step 7. And baby step 7 is all about giving. So it's all about, you know, you've reached the point where now you have 0 bills. You owe nothing. Like, now you just get to live and do whatever the heck you want. And so, his plan is very Christian based. It's something that's taught in a lot of churches. And so baby step 7, the final step, is all about just giving back, and now being at a point in your life where you can give to others, you can give to charities, and you can just help those in need, because you have done well for yourself, you've done well with your money, and now you have extra money just so you can be generous and, you know, just contribute to those that are less fortunate. And so, you know, I do hope that eventually one day Joe and I will get there to a point where we can be as generous as possible with our money while still obviously doing fun stuff ourselves. But, you know, I always like joke around. I'm like, you know, I would be like the best millionaire because if I won lotto, like I would try to give back. I would try, you know, to give a lot of that money back and to help others. I wish that I had more money now to be able to contribute to causes that I believe in, but that's just not a reality at the moment. So hopefully one day we'll be at a better place where we can afford to do that. And I don't know, I just feel like that would make me happy. So that's about it. Those are Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps. So we'll recap them. Number 1 is saving $1,000. Number 2 is paying off all of your debt. Baby step 3 is creating a 3 to 6 month emergency fund for yourself. Baby step 4 is about saving for retirement, 15% of your income. Baby step 5 is starting a college fund for your kids. Baby step 6 is about paying off your mortgage. And baby step 7 is just about giving as much as you can and helping out and just being a nice human, I guess. So again, this is Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. I really only promote books that I 100% believe in, and this is definitely one of them. It's something that I'm super passionate about because I know that everybody's struggling. I know that, you know, I have friends, I have family members, I have people who email me. I have spoken to a lot of young people, and that's one of like their biggest frustrations. You know, they graduate college and they have so much debt and they don't know what to do, and then they get jobs that are paying them shit and they can't afford to pay their bills. I know that the struggle is real. I know that I have been really blessed and I have been really fortunate in the sense that, you know, I graduated from college and I didn't have any student loan debt. My parents had saved up a small fund for me, but at the same time, I went to in-state school. I got a full scholarship because of my grades. And so like I really busted my ass so that I wouldn't have to pay a lot of money to go to college. So in that sense, I did set myself up for success so that I wouldn't have that student loan debt. I know that's not everybody's situation. I'm not saying it's gonna be everyone's situation, but I'm just saying that I recognize that I was very fortunate in that sense. So if you like this video and if you like just hearing me talk about like money stuff and finances, then I'd really appreciate it if you'd give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. And if you have any other like tips, financial advice, things that you've heard that have worked well for you, anything you want to chat about, any questions you have about anything that I mentioned, please leave those in the comments and I'll get back to you guys. All right guys, we'll talk soon. Bye.